one thing I wanted to mention, because you brought up that we're onboarding more people. Um, you know what I've been thinking about? Are you guys familiar with Axiom? I assume most people here use PvP Trade,
Yeah.
but so Axiom does both Solana and Hyperliquid, and I feel like that's actually quite a good way to get this new user base of people who are primarily in the Solana trenches to get into perps, because it's relatively seamless as you can make Solana to Hyperliquid. And that's one thing that I think we wrote about it 2 weeks ago, and I was thinking about that. It's like a whole new class. And if you guys ever go on Twitter and you see these people who are in the Solana trenches, it's not like you and me. It's like 19-year-olds with 0.5 soul in a dream. It's legitimately dumb flow.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, that's what people want. And I mean, these people can be onboarded potentially. I don't know how many of them are on Telegram, to be honest with you. I think most of them typically use Phantom, but either way, it's a good growth avenue. One thing that was actually kind of shocking is Axiom makes, I think, like 95% of its money off of Solana, and like sub 5% from
Dude, I
Hyperliquid.
think that's a great point. It's even more, I think only 50 bips of their revenue has
Yeah.
actually come from builder codes on Hyperliquid, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
can't charge the 1% fees they charge
Yeah.
on Solana transactions with the cap.
Yeah.
But Katja, I think that's actually a good add-on to the conversation, right? Because, whether we're talking about perps volumes or spot volumes, the reality is that, continued growth is coming from entities like Axiom that integrate Hyperliquid as a liquidity backend. I think often this discourse focuses too much on, Hyperliquid as an exchange alternative, right? People compare it to individual exchanges or individual, perps protocols. But with the builder code mechanism, right, that allows someone to submit transactions on a user's behalf and charge, up to a certain fee threshold for doing so, which is different for spot versus for perps. We're basically getting to a point where you can have unlimited organizations, putting the work in for user acquisition and user retention. My hope is that within a year's time, right, like the builder code ecosystem looks like a proto Shopify, right? We're two BD schmucks from some far-flung part of the world, could, spin up a billboard, attract 10,000 users, and, cover their rent that way, right? Like that is, I think, the true bull case for Hyperliquid is that it just becomes this liquidity layer for so much and so many different niches. And Axiom, PvP, right? These teams have kind of shown what builder codes can do, and there's a lot I think coming to market over the next few months as well. So I'm personally interested to see at which point long tail centralized exchanges even just kind of throw in the towel
Yeah.
and say, hey, we can have pure profit by forcing our users to pay the fees we want them to pay, but then just delegating our backend basically to Hyperliquid, right? Like that can be pure profit and cut out 50, 60, 70% of the cost structure of a centralized exchange. And yeah, I assume someone will eventually do that. I think the math checks out at a certain point, and it'll be more than just Telegram bots making use of builder codes. It'll be the kind of centralized exchanges people have already onboarded to that make that call as well.